Well, here we are, part 2 of the 26th of April 2024. I was trying to show you the photo of a pendant I made, and bloody Siri came on, which I don't even know how that happened. I didn't press on it. Or maybe I did, but I didn't willingly, consciously press on it. And so it cut us off. So it's insane making. But anyway, I'm currently uploading the 10 minutes of the last video because I don't know how to splice things together, people. And we'll carry on with part 2 of today's video of even date, because why not? I'm here. I'm just not going to let stupid things grind me down. Am I right? So anyway, I moved us into the shade so I could show you. Oh, here we go. That lovely pendant that I actually made and gifted to my daughter Crystal. So this was all about trying to show you a photo, right? How we got lopped off. It's like insane making, but it is what it is. I've got cords running everywhere because I'm also simultaneously charging my phone and charging my laptop. And this is why, some of you who are smug and judgmental wonder why I don't hold down a job, because I don't cope. This is why. I've been put through too much shit in my life and I find it difficult to cope. Hopefully, quite frankly, I die soon so I don't have to keep living in this ridiculous, acopic, isolated, traumatic state. But I say that, but I've lived this way for 59 years, so might as well just keep going. Hey babies, might as well just keep going. I might have to consider unfriending my long-time friend Efren, because sending me those videos, I don't know what his motivation is, but it just triggers me and upsets me, you know, while he lives with his smug world with, he told me one time they have a holiday apartment in Cancun, or where, you know, they're wealthy, and he just likes to needle me a bit. Well, fuck off with your needling, my friend. Because I can't get out of my situation. I'm too old, I'm too ill, I'm too tired. And, you know, no one's going to rescue me from my situation. There's no way out but death. And I don't need to be rescued. I need to just live my life out in whatever peace and enjoyment I can wrest from it by my dancing on the weekends. And that's it. Homeostasis. That's where it is. No better, but no worse. Just trying to maintain some kind of equilibrium. And as I said in my earlier video, at least I do have a roof over my head. So I'm streets ahead of many other women who are homeless and in my former situation at my age now. It's heinous what's been done to us as a society. And it was deliberate and well planned and orchestrated, as I pointed out in one of my comments on that YouTube video today. I watched the family court judge destroy 20 women's lives that day. And when it came to my turn, I said, well, I was the last woman in the courtroom. I said, well, Your Worship, what are you going to do for me after you've destroyed woman after woman after woman? Now it's little old me's turn, and all I'm trying to get is my decree nisi and some sort of reasonable property settlement, which was not at all reasonable at all. In fact, I was robbed. But, you know, he was so shocked when I confronted him, that judge. His wig literally slipped almost sideways off his head. No one had bothered to confront him directly all day, so fearful of his status and his power in the family law courts. Evil is what it is. But, you know, I'm okay. I weathered that storm too. Weathered all the storms of my life. So smug people can mock and deride me for my level of poverty and marginalisation. Fuck off. Seriously. Here's another. Here's another pendant, photo of the pendant. Another side view. I was obsessed with trying to capture the colours in the stone, which when I tip the laptop this way, you can actually get the colours. Beautiful it was. It wasn't very expensive, but it was a beauty. Anyway, another relationship gone to the dogs and destroyed and underappreciated. And anyway, I mustn't cry. It is what it is, and I have to be strong, and I have to carry on. I have to carry on, if only for the sake of my little birdie and my few true and precious friends who do appreciate me and love me in their quirky, weird ways as well. I chipped the front of the stone, even with tape on top of it, arg, but it still looks pretty. And I wrote in the Instagram hashtags, bezel, stone setting, magic happens, I will need to improve on this, done for the day. So you can kind of read between the lines that I was feeling actually quite frustrated and being a bit hard on myself given I'm a beginner, right? But I was doing my best. Like I've done my best at every avenue of my life, only to be betrayed and sold down the river and fucking marginalised over and over again. So yes, every now and then I break down. Looks like today's a breakdown kind of day, which is weird because it should have been a lovely day today. The finished piece, LOS, that means liver of Salford, which is when you blacken the silver to show the more detail. The engraved hearts and the back polished with Renaissance wax. I lost the sheen by sanding off the Mars on the stone, but I am still happy with it. I used coconut oil to moisten with 2500 grit radial disc. At one point I got a little audacious and sanded with 600 grit sandpaper the rougher scratches. It's come up lovely, although not as lovely as it was originally before I made a mess of it. I must ask next time I have contact with my daughter if the stone's all right, because I've got the ability now, I've got the right equipment to polish it up to 50,000 or even 100,000 and really get it shiny again, which when I made that I didn't have the knowledge, but since then I've polished opals and I know I can do it, so I might get her to drop it back round to me sometime so I can bring the stone up to its former bright sheen. Here I write, it's come up lovely, although not as lovely as it was originally before I made a mess of it. C'est la vie. I'm still joyful about how this piece turned out. I cut the embellishments, hearts. Oh, I was talking about my blue horlite stone. Okay, so I don't have to worry about the stone I gave to Crystal. That was fine. I cut the embellishments, in brackets, hearts, out with my disc cutter ages ago, so it was great to finally put them to use. The bail is an old bracelet clasp I recycled. So yes, I kept that piece for myself, and I do wear it with a bit of pride and happiness. I mean, it's one of my earlier attempts at stone setting, and kind of made it from recycled silver, and I've just made the best of it that I could, and I can improve. I have the knowledge now, but you know, oh well. It's all part of the learning journey, I suppose. Can you give me kissy kissy, Charlie? Kissy kissy for the mama. Kissy kissy for the mama. Here I write again, because I was obsessing over it. There are marks on the stone where I slipped and tiny bumps from the radial disc. I'm going to give it one more polish to 600 grit and maybe try polishing the stone with oil and 2500 grit. Maybe. That doesn't work, people, by the way. Does not work in the slightest. Looks good temporarily because the oil seeps in and then it dries up. But anyway, here I write. But I set the stone. It was nerve-wracking as it was my first ever attempt. So apart from the damage to the stone size, I am happy with my professional development and creativity. It is a start anyway. I still have the square moonstone to set, which I actually managed to chip that too, so that was upsetting, but here's me attempting to set the stone. And the painter's tape sort of works, but not great, so I need to buy a mouldable plastic called thermoplast so I can have it more stable for next time I attempt a job like that. Here we have another photo of me showing what it looked like before I set the stones. Here's a photo of my beautiful boy socks back in 2021. And he looks like a 1970s porn star. He's lying there. It just made me laugh. Here's a photo of Charlie from back in 2020. I can't even see if it's working out. Hello. Is that you, Charlie? Is that you? Can you see the birdie there? There's the birdie. Mama's little birdie. Trying to get the scrolling sidebar thingy to work. There's my beautiful boy. Maybe if I use my mouse, will that work? No, it's come up with some weird thing. Come on. Oh yeah, that works better. Mama T braved the post-apocalyptic, post-Anzac Day crowds and queues to buy my beau some new balls. He is so happy with his new acquisitions. I had a lovely day today. In the late afternoon, I took Bobo and Charlie for a walk. Charlie got to play with the 3 Scott boys. He played ball. They ran around with him merrily. Their mother Claire made me a cup of tea. The youngest one, aged 6, Winston, randomly says to me, "You are a snake." I almost fell off my chair. I said, "I am indeed a snake in Chinese astrology. How did you know that, Winnie?" He looks at me sagely and says, "I know because I am one too." His mother comes over to him and says, "That's right, Winnie, you are a snake too." I was a bit gobsmacked. The child is gifted with psychic powers to have randomly guessed my Chinese astrology sign. When I left, I told Claire that he is very brilliant and also gifted. Then I carried on with our walk, by now in the twilight. I stopped to chat with Pete and Robin and their little dog Coco. Then walking up the street, Leanne across from me and her daughter said hello, and we remarked on the extremely warm April weather. It's a beautiful day today again too. Then I went home and cooked the marvellous steak that Lynn bought me. I devoured half of it. It's juicy, tender and delicious, even with my cooking it. Well done. And then I inserted a chapter from my story, The Dybbuk in the Roof, which I don't know why I decided to insert that into Day of Even Date. Maybe it was when I wrote it initially. But I'll read it to you anyway. If you want to read it in its entirety, it's posted up under my account, Tanya Aarons, on Vocal Media. The Dybbuk in the Roof, Chapter 12. It's titled, "Who the hell are you to treat me like that?" The world is steeped in death and insanity, a thin veneer of civilization carefully masking the putrescence and bestiality underneath. The Tanya knows the Dybbuk has multiplied itself in the billions, riding each human with cavalier glee. Choose life, choose love. Alas, poor Davidson, we knew him well. His haunting had served only to highlight the miscarriages of justice she experienced over and over again. Also, the medical negligences. Then the smug, evil condescension of her own Jewish community. But the Dybbuk never rests, and neither does the Australian government with its fear-mongering and loss of containment of coronavirus. Vile dickheads. The Dybbuk is practicing ballet on the roof, pirouetting with more aplomb than the usual ballet maestro, counting souls in assorted epiglottal collective fears, gaining prowess and infinite power. Her former lover, who fed this community with such vile slander, is dead. But that song runs through her head, the guttural, smoky voice of Madison Avenue. Who the hell are you to treat me like that? I don't care where you been, where you going, where you at. He used to sing it to her. trying to blow smoke up her ass, and 20 years later he is incapable of smiling as she is utterly through with him, and he is, well, dead. Him and his cohorts in the community that still thought they could try to humiliate her after 2 decades. Karma rectification, tikkun olam, counting the Tanya's tears until her last breath. Hush now, Dubuk. You want to create hell on earth? Feast on human flesh like carrion? Sit down, baby. The Tanya already lived through more apocalypses than this one. Just settle, petal, you fucking amateur. But one is mindful of the complete disarray, condescending offers of assistance from glib grandstanders, hypocrites, members of parliament offering people call 13 Health for assistance. Where was the help in June 2019 when the Tanya feared for her very life? None, only abuse. 13 Health only services the rich, it would seem. Systemic abuse rampant. What hope in a pandemic? Why none? Do not delude yourselves. Look after your own self and your pets and your beloveds. Socially avoid the rest of the lying, evil, greedy, salacious humans. Social distancing, my lifestyle has gifted me after all. The Tanya had help from genuine earth angels, while everyone else, including government officials, whipped her hide, flogged her reputation and her actual flesh, then laughed in her face. Well, humans, the last laugh is always best, loudest, and longest. Hear me? Lynn bought me this enormous steak. I will be eating well tonight. This was in 2020 when I couldn't source meat that was, affordable for me in the supermarkets because of the lockdowns and the COVID malfeasances. So my friend Lynn bought me this incredibly huge piece of meat. She's a true sister to me and strives to mother me at times when I'm spiralling down in the fucking abyss, all alone in poverty and my trauma issues. She steps up to the mark where no family member or anyone else has done. Her and my other few earth angels who have spoilt me lavishly over the decades. One who wishes to remain anonymous. There's the cooked steak. Doesn't look much, but boy, it was delicious. Lynn bought me this amazing steak when the lockdown began and there was no meat to be had in the shops. Also, the most delicious Moroccan flavoured sausages. Oh my God. I was in panic mode, unable to buy basic food, and my angel, Lynn, provided. Thank you, my queen, for all you have done for me and all my mad phone calls over many years, almost 32 years. We have now been friends for almost 36 years. One of the longest friendships of my life. The first woman to buy fish and chips after lockdown. I found that hilarious. That's because I always feed the seagulls. Always. I always feed birds. I don't care if they're scavengers and they're deemed to be well fed. I never deny a bird food, do I, Charlie? Life is about sharing and looking after those that don't have opposable thumbs, and, you know, why throw all your leftover food to rot down in rubbish treatment plants when it can be actually recycled as food to another living being? That's my philosophy on that. 26th of April 2019. I feel all wet, Charlie. I think you've pooed down my... Yes, you have. You've pooed all down my back. Oh, you're a varmint. Oh, well. More washing, Charlie. More washing. She's so happy in her spirit. Tell the people how happy you are to be with your mama. Yes, say, I've pooed down her back, but I do love her dearly, and I love it when she talks to me and treats me like I'm important in her life too, and isn't just glued to her laptop or her iPhone, and remembers that I am a living sentient being and that I need company, and I need to be communicated with, and I don't do loneliness. I agree with you wholeheartedly, Charlie. But sometimes Mama T needs to see Auntie Lynn too. Sometimes we need human company. Yes. And she spoils you lavishly with those rainbow lorikeet, you know, chewing things that you put in your cage and you nibble on with all the dried fruit and all the grains. She spoils you something chronic so you can forgive one day that Mama was gone with Auntie Lynn. Am I right? Yes. 26th of April 2019. Sorry, I'm a bit indigested today. I've had 2 cups of tea and a few Tim Tam biscuits. Probably a few too many. Well, I had about 3 and they're repeating on me. It is what it is, people. Getting old is not exactly glamorous, people. Anyway, I have upset myself today too, and I shouldn't be upset. There is no reason to be upset. I have everything I need. I have beautiful friends who love me. I have the dance, and here I am sitting in this weird trauma state. It's just nuts. 26th of April 2019, I say again to remind myself. Yesterday I had a conversation with Crystal, who informed me that her father had some nice things to say about me. My blood ran cold. I am still extruding furious, cold, coagulated blood. I reminded her that although he will forever remain her father, that he is my ex-husband, that he paid 2 people to attack and strangle me when our marriage ended, and that although I never reported him to the police, a deep regret of mine, as I feared for my life and my children's, that he remains the most vile, disgusting pig in my eyes. No amount of kind words on his part 24 years later will ever change the fact that he was a monster, is or was a monster, and he is absolutely not my family, and his opinions of me, good, bad or indifferent, have no fucking importance in my life. I reminded her there we go. Why has that come up? Go away. Honestly, this laptop drives me mad. I reminded her that I had to work very hard in a severely traumatised state over several decades to keep us safe, and it was not always possible. That her father contributed to all of that with his alliance with my evil mother and Buck Shearer. I'm wondering what has fucking happened to Michael after all those long years of emotional, mental, financial abuse, that he suddenly decides he can express care or sympathy for me or my existence. It's kind of a bit frickin', it's just chutzpah is what it is. Maybe he is dementing. He made a comment a few years ago to my daughter that he had a good life with me and I was, quote, unquote, not so bad. I was thoroughly disgusted by that. What he really meant was he had a good wife who gave him plenty of sex, even though it was usually bad, who strove to keep my family unit together even when it was under constant attack from slanderers at shul, and my own manipulative, interfering mother. Not surprisingly, I began to have breakdowns as I was scapegoated, shunned, fucking pilloried at home, in our business, in my Jewish community, and in false friendships. Ultimately, Michael even turned my own staff against me. And ultimately, the reason I left him was he was actually turning my young children against me too at the ages of 9 and 7. It was completely fucking evil what he put me through. Only my dear friend Jared has stuck by me for the past 27 years as a former employee and most beloved, sincere friend. Try 32 years now, although we don't have as much contact with each other as we used to, and he's drifting off and, living busy with his own life, and that happens. I get it. I've done nothing wrong, but I get it. So what the fuck is my ex-husband trying to do by grooming my daughter? Watch this space. We've got company, Maggie. Don't usually get magpies coming to visit me, so that's unusual. Can you sing us a song, Maggie? Don't know what she's eating there, but oh well. She's a happy magpie. And a former Facebook friend, who I won't name her name because she turned toxic too, which was awful, wrote, "Maybe he is afraid of losing his connection with his kids. Imagine dying and no one to cry for you. You are coping well without him. Don't waste your energy on hating him. It depletes your energy and he gets more attention than he deserves," which that part was actually true. And oddly, last year I kept having dreams about him to the point where I asked my daughter if he was ill, and then she said, yeah, he thinks he's dying. And I said, well, he very well may be, since he's a lot older than me. He's 69 now. This September he'll be 70. So it was a bit odd, but my daughter's attitude to failing parents with failing health is, we should just fuck off and die, am I right? So it's just beyond awful. Anyway, I don't really hate him per se anymore. I just don't want constant reminders of him He's not a man that I should ever have married or had children with or even stayed with for as long as I did. But I was a teenager when I met him, and I was determined to have a happy family life and build a life of my own. Look at this bird. Hello. You're very friendly. You've come very close to me on the steps. Hello, Maggie. Coming even closer. Hello, little one. You're beautiful. Hello, gorgeous one. Don't come close to Charlie, though. Charlie's my birdie. You must be someone's pet to be so friendly. Look at him or her. Gonna sing me a song? Hey, Charlie said hello. You're being spoken to by a rainbow lorikeet in English. Isn't that weird? Hello, Charlie. Oh, there she is. How delightful. I was feeling really awful today, and this beautiful bird came to see me. I've never seen, well, I haven't seen, as I said, I haven't seen Maggie's around much lately. What are you doing, birdie num num? You beautiful birdie. You was a beautiful bird. I don't know why I always baby talk to them. I don't know why I do that. But anyway, she's just sitting there watching me, watching Charlie. Come on, Charlie, you better come up here with Mama up on my shoulder, just in case Maggie decides to take out an eyeball or something, because we don't totally trust her. No, we don't. Not with you, I don't. Come on, up, 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 up. Yeah, come up to Mama. Sit up here with Mama. Show Maggie that you're my bird. Because I can trust you with the crows, but I don't know. This one's never come so close to us before. There she goes. She's moved away now. Hello. 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 Say hello to the birdies, Charlie. Isn't that gorgeous? So what am I crying about? Nothing. Nothing. Forget about the human fucking waste treatment sewerage effluent and just be happy with the birdies, am I right? It's getting a bit cray-cray at my house, but this is what happens when you live in sacred space. I replied to that woman, I won't name her name. I just think it is very creepy the way he's trying to align with me via my daughter. I want nothing to do with him. And 3 years later, I still want nothing to do with him. And you scare people because you are whole all by yourself. Lauren Alex Hooper. And ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? How people are intimidated by my reintegration and my wholeness and my love. Even my love terrifies them at times. So I just stay in my own little bubble, my little sacred space bubble, and try to avoid assholes as much as possible and have my wild dancing on the weekend and live my best life to the best of my abilities given my circumstances, and strive in the face of everything to be happy. Some days I win, some days I lose, but I'm content if I at least can be, safe and have equilibrium, and happiness has to be wrested from deep within one's own soul, and it's kind of an art form. It's a work in progress. Here's my little happy face here, being her own work in progress. You showing off for the Maggie that you have a mama, a human mama who loves you. You show that, Maggie. Say, my parents kicked me out of the nest, but I have a human who loves me no matter what, even though I shit all over her t-shirt and I occasionally bites her. Oh! Oh! That nasty butcher bird. Get up, Maggie. Oh, well, there you go. That's astonishing. Right in front of us. Anyway, I'm not buying into it. It's not my monkey. It's not my circus. It's for the wild birds to sort themselves out. Stay away from that butcher bird, Charlie. He doesn't normally attack you, does he? But he took it out on the magpie. Gosh, she must be out of her territory for him to beat her up. That wasn't nice. Come on, Maggie. I haven't got any meat to give you, poor little bird. She's all right, though. 26th of April 2018. I know. Oh, the birdies are being a bit funny. They're being a bit funny, but not ha-ha funny, Charlie. They're being a bit funny, weird. Yesterday was a beautiful day. Sally visited and gifted me a laptop and a new keyboard. Also, which I'm still using of even date. Thank you, Sally. Also some beautiful Turkish delight and chocolate. Then Crystal needed help to get to visit a friend at Chermside to pick up a microphone for her spruiking job today. So Jenny and I went to pick up Crystal and drive her to her friend Jenny, another Jenny, who is a delightful, salt-of-the-earth woman. Then we went back to Crystal's for a cup of tea, then back home to my place. My Jenny and I drank wine and imbibed in the goodness of life, but I babbled manically and wore my Jenny out, as I have a tendency to do late at night, when I simply come alive like a nocturnal, blossoming creature. Nighttime is when I'm often at my most creative and interesting and alive, people. Mornings, even early afternoons, are not always good for me, but come the early evening and the nighttime, I bloom. I've always been that way too. I'm so blessed and grateful to my gorgeous friends. You lift me up and sustain me and bring so much joy and solace. Thank you. Kiss, kiss, kiss. Maggie's still hanging around us. Very interesting. And my friend Sally wrote, great to spend some time yesterday with the lovely Tanya Aarons and to catch up with the cats, one of whom hid under the table after a brief cuddle and the other consented in a lordly way to have his photo taken with me. He has got used to living with dog and bird. He had indeed. And here we have my beautiful friend Sally and our pets. Socks, who was an enormous cat, and just wonderful and lovely. And oh my gosh, I'm getting cramps sitting here. I'm not in a good situation. But anyway, it is what it is. Soldier on, people. We're soldiering on. Even though my tailbone feels like I'm having a knife being driven through it right now. Oh dear goddess. 29 PCs and laptops gifted to me since 1995. I think I'm up to 31 now. Tells me I am a writer. An unpublished schmuck of a writer, venting my life on Facebook in intricate detail and often repetitive vignettes from my life. I have a fear of success. Failure is my style. Failure is something I am comfortable with my existential angst and experiential awareness. I don't know how to live in this world or achieve, but my beloveds keep blessing me with the tools to express myself, so I might as well keep trying. To my beloved ones, I strive to make you all proud of me one day. Not sure how or when, but baby steps. Pardon me. Thanks Sally, Jenny, Jared, Lynn and Peter, and David McSkimming, who gave me my first computer, kinda under coercion and pressure from my mother, mind you, which wasn't nice, but he did indeed give me his computer, which was very kind. Thanks for believing in me, even when I don't always believe in myself. Thanks for being here on my journey to wholeness and dragging me from survival to thrival. You are all so awesome. My long-time estranged younger daughter Jasmine flew to England on Tuesday without even acknowledging me or saying goodbye, but we were already estranged, so there is that. I pray to the gods and that the English treat her with kindness. I hope she gains wisdom on her overseas sojourn and that she is kept safe. What year was that? Ah yes, Crystal had not just long that earlier in January had returned from the UK, and then Jasmine went to the UK. But anyway, sore hip, sore knee, dear God, hope it's not another bout of sciatica again. It's getting closer and closer. What do you want, Birdie? What do you want from Mama T? Just keep moving forward. Life is good. I am happy. Oh my God, she's climbing up on the step. Look. I think she's someone's pet because she's just too friendly. You're just too friendly, my sweet. Do you feel safe with Mama T? Away from the butcher bird. Oh, he went and swooped you again, a nasty thing. Yeah, you're here because you feel safe. You're safe here with Mama. Just don't attack my Charlie and you'll be fine. All right? I don't know what's going on while you're out of your territory and you've been beaten up by a butcher bird, though. I think I've been adopted by a Maggie. You okay? Look, she's really kind of stoically holding her ground, but kind of worried too. I'm getting worried energy from her. Charlie, you got a little birdie friend today, a magpie. All this all happening live on YouTube. Well, not live, but unfolding in front of us. Yes. 26th of April 2017, I got woken up by a contractor for housing. They're gonna fix my fence. I'm hoping for a new one, but beggars can't be choosers, sigh. I won't go into that story. I'm already depressed today and I don't want to live and wallow in ugliness from the past, but they did give me a new fence, but it was just awful. Really awful experience. Anyway, just Skyped with my Crystal. She got to meet Charlie. He, or rather she, was showing off for her. Gorgeous guy. When I thought you were a boy birdie, Charlie, before you laid eggs in 2020, December 28th, I think it was, and proved that you was a girl birdie. This magpie's just still sitting here at my feet, like literally 2 steps from where I'm sitting. You okay? Are you okay, Maggie? Are you okay, sweet birdie? It's just so random, having this bird appear out of nowhere. Come to Mama T for protection. But it is sacred space. Everyone needs to be safe at sacred space, because I have declared it sacred space for that reason. It has to be a safe haven, including for me. 26th of April 2016. What's going on here? Copilot. Go away, Copilot. Here's a photo of me. Would have just had my hair done, I think. That's probably why I took that. Feeling glamorous and contented as I do when I get my hair done. 26th of April 2015. Clown play. It was my daughter's clown business. Fairy Blossom and Lancelot had a wonderful adventure at Bunnings Manly West. Thanks for having us. Oh, that's just gorgeous. I miss my daughter, but I can't have her in my life when she's been sadistic and abusive to me when I've been very ill. I just can't. It's a tragedy, but it is what it is. I just have to accept it and move on. Musha curled up on my lap, socks on the end of the sofa. They missed me while I was out dancing. Oh, it's kind of beautiful. On my former mother's couch, which I'm so glad I got rid of that energy, by the gods. She was blocking me long after she died. Powerful witch my mother was. Very fucking powerful. Well, I don't do that to my daughters. Let them be free and prosper in all their undertakings, and if they can't love me or even give me basic respect and genuine care, let them go, right? Toni Childs and her band are safe in Bali. I had a Facebook friendship for about 3 or 4 years with Toni Childs, the singer. And I was worried because there'd been an earthquake in Nepal while they were there. They left Nepal 3 days ago. My heart goes out to the families of the missing and killed Australians caught in the Nepalese earthquake and avalanche. Also to the poor locals. Such immense suffering. 4:41 a.m. on the bus heading home. I had a great night dancing apart from Lana hassling me again on the dance floor. She says she won't have to pay the $1,000 fine as her uncle is a judge. She really is a putrid waste of space. Security took me aside and told me to report her next time rather than talking back to her. Fair enough. She just won't leave me alone. Really disgusting. 26th of April 2014, 3:44 a.m, home safe. Like they knew that she was harassing me and that she'd been taken to court. And again, I'm scapegoated again when I think about that. They should have just told her to leave. They could see she was harassing me. You know, it's just constant malfeasance, isn't it? Constant malfeasance. But anyway, I don't dance in that space anymore, and I don't miss it, quite frankly, after years and years of ongoing abuses, including after my dog died, so fuck them. 26th of April 2014. This little Maggie's still sitting on the bottom step, still listening to me. Look at her. Gonna sing to me? Yes, you're on YouTube. You're famous on YouTube. Yes. Sweet little bird. Now don't you get all het up, Charlie. She's just minding her own business. And we're minding our business, living in perfect harmony, how it should be, between birdies and humans too. I'll read that again. 26th of April 2014, 3:44 a.m, home safe. I've had the most fantastic few weeks of my entire life. Tonight, my former friend, who I now refer to as Creature, she turned savage too, spoilt me lavishly for her birthday. Should be the other way around. Mind you, earlier that year I had nursed her for 5 days when she was blind. So, you know, I mean, I chose to help her out because that's what friends do, but she was kind of, I suppose, spoiling me to make up for it. She bought me dinner at an Italian restaurant, then we danced wildly for burst until 2 a.m. Woody, Dale and Andy are awesome. Love them to bits. Woody finished the night by playing Zombie, which I adore, having lived a zombie life for over 20 years. That song has particular meaning to me, especially the fight for self-determination in Ireland and the anti-war message. One has to confront one's shadow before you can truly appreciate the light worker aspect of the soul. Life and death in an entangled lambada dance for eternity. The snake, Caduceus, swallowing its own tail. Life, death, life, regeneration in the Gilgulim, the wheel of reincarnation. It's good to remember our little spark of the divine and take our place in the cycle of infinite awareness, a blessing and a prayer of the living, those who have faced the hag and come out in full glory and bliss. Shehechianu, Vikiamanu, Vihigianu, Lazman, Hazeh. Blessed are you, Lord my God, for sustaining me and bringing me to the season of immense happiness, wonderful friends, old and new, and a whisper and a promise of a new life, free of pain and suffering, with only good times and people to come. Update 2020, finally getting there, happy life, surrounded by genuinely loving, kind people. And this little Maggie is listening to every word I say, absorbing everything. It's amazing. It's like I've got a little audience and it's a magpie of all people. It's just delightful. A Shehechianu goes out again for the gods gifting me this momentary friendship with a wild bird who doesn't seem all that wild, quite frankly. I think she's someone's former pet. Far too tame to be a wild magpie. 26th of April 2019. On Sunday I met a strange man. He made me nervous, but I pushed through my usual cynicism and mistrust after a very bad week of false starts with some aggressive and unpleasant characters and auditioning suitors for the ongoing love story of the Tanya's primary existence, to meet a wonderful, amusing and fascinating man. I did think he was amusing and fascinating too. Ah well, true colours always come out. Doesn't usually take very long, people. Unfortunately. To add to the surreality of the mystique of my life so far this year, he proclaimed himself to be an Elvis impersonator, so I asked him to audition for me, right there in front of everyone in the pub. That would have been Irish Murphy's. He did. He was witty, charismatic and mischievous. My kind of man. My Auntie Sylvia Shine wrote, "Good luck, happy days must come. Kiss, kiss, kiss." And I replied, "Yes, I had 2 really happy days with this man. I sure hope there are many more to come." 9 years ago, what I didn't know, am I right? Just another fucking user and a parasite, but it is what it is. My friend Margaret wrote, "Wow, sounds intriguing." I've been on my own for so long that all my friends get terribly excited when I state that I've met a man or I'm thinking I'm starting a new relationship. They get terribly, terribly excited, and then it all turns usually to shit and we all get terribly, terribly distraught. But oh well. The gods decree what the gods decree, and like my magpie on my bottom step, risking everything to be intimate with me, just have to find acceptance and keep moving on, baby girls and boys. Update. Charlie. 2019. Well, Dead Elvis turned out to be a flog, but it was interesting nevertheless, smiley face. Mama T rises and shines, happy in love with the other head-fucking wiglet that always makes cameo appearances at the casino, as he is approach avoidant but never quite lets me go. True love? Question mark. Our spiritual connection is intensely strong. Even my psychiatrist commented on our Jungian connection, as I had mentioned Dave in therapy. I felt his energy for the past 5 weeks and was pushing it away, as it never goes anywhere. But true to form, he pops up again. My doctor told me I am very powerful in my intuition. It is unmistakable. I always know without knowing when he will appear. Will reappear, that says. It is sad that we can't seem to get back together. Not that we were ever officially together, so that was a fantasy on my part. But our spirits are entwined with some weird cosmic dance, and true to his word, he is never far away from me. I have to keep loving myself and healing and growing in such a way that eventually I will attract the one who won't run and hide or play games or stress me out by shoving former friends and other lovers in my face. A man who chooses me, is happy and proud to be with me, and respects me and adores me as a woman, as the Tanya, as a spirit, and indeed as a soul. What can I say? I've been manifesting that for eons, darlings, eons. But first I have to make myself proud and happy to be myself, even if it means staying alone for the rest of my life. I am not going to sell myself out for the sake of some fake, fucked up, delusional cock supreme ever, ever, ever again. My doctor told me yesterday that all my poverty and mental health issues would melt away if I found a stable, loving partner. And I should have written jokingly, I threatened to take him outside his offices and bash him. I told him he was being ridden by my mother's abusive hag spirit, feeding me with patriarchal betrayals, meaning that he sounded just like my mother, who liked to victim blame and gaslight and obfuscate and abuse. And did I mention abuse and abuse and abuse? So although my psychiatrist at that point in time meant well, I saw it as a form of abuse. He apologised then and said he meant that a good man would be a great boon to me. But he acknowledged I would probably sabotage out of fear of not feeling deserving enough. Fear! After every lover I ever had turning vicious and dangerous, and in several cases actively trying to kill me by strangulation and or driving me into terror and poverty, I have to overcome reasonable fears every time I cast my heart to the winds and give some horny dickhead a chance, which is why I shut down even my own sexuality. I can't trust most men. Deserving. I deserve as much as any other human on this planet to be loved, nurtured, protected, made love to, cared for and or about, which is why I'm staying single until the time the one shows up in my life and meets me where I am, halfway, not subsuming me, not smothering me, certainly not fucking harming me. I love myself too much to go down to that seventh hell again. Update 2021, double sigh. Pity he turned out to be a stingy, using, lemonade, rubber band cunt of a man. He started off with such razzle-dazzle and ended up like a jagged little Pillsbury doughboy. Update 2022. Oh dear, laughing out loud. That was another hot shoe shuffle. Had to divest myself quickly. Shit. Anyway, I haven't taken on a lover since that time, and I think that was the best possible decision to make given my history of choosing men who could be so gorgeous and wonderful in the beginning and turn to shit so quickly after. So it is what it is. 26th of April 2011. Gail and little Talia picked me up and took me to see Rio, which we all thoroughly enjoyed. We're still in the company of this bird. Hello, little darling. You waiting for me? What are you waiting for me to do? What do you want from me, bird? You're beautiful. Do you know how beautiful you are? You don't have to be anything other than your own perfect, beautiful magpie self. I wish I could afford to see the real Rio de Janeiro one day. Afterwards, we went to Bunnings and I bought some little terracotta pots so I could pot up my garden on the stairs, laughing out loud. Then later I fell asleep in front of the TV, so I spent the evening repotting the pots, meaning after I woke up from my nap in front of the TV, I suppose. Tomorrow, Lynn is coming to follow me to Salisbury Wrecking, so I can sadly and finally part with the beast. Ave, beastie, it's been 21 and a half years and you have been the most magnificent machine and served me well. I will sorely miss you. Mazda Corporation, you rock. It was a little 121 hatchback shades. It looked like a roller skate on wheels, really. It wasn't a very attractive car, but it lasted a long time. But to be fair, the last few years of its existence, it had a lot of help to last with the help of my ex-boyfriend, Courtney Evans. But without him, I would have had to have scrapped the car probably after about 16 years. But anyway, it is what it is. Life goes on. I wish I hadn't started eating blocks of chocolate the last few weeks. I've been so good. This addict has busted majorly and now I'm craving chocolate day and night. That's not good, people. I must have been lacking something in my life at that moment in time. Some mineral or something. You're still here, Maggie? What are you doing? Are you a beautiful birdie still? It will take me a lot of time to deprogram from the chocolate addiction again. Chocolate equals poison and will kill me, but I'll die happier, laughing out loud. And copyright Tanya Desiree Aarons, and thus concludes my readings of Even Date. And I went from feeling very triggered and distressed when I began the first video this morning to feeling uplifted and delighted about my strange little birdie visitor. I wonder what she'll do when I move and shut down the laptop, which I'm doing now. I wonder what she will do. If she will run away or come closer. What are you going to do, birdie? It's very intriguing indeed. Oh, but anyway, I'm going to put my foot down. Please don't bite my feet, because I have to move because I got terrible pain in my coccyx from sitting like this. Coccyx pain because I fell off my horse one too many times as a teenager, or it might have got dislodged when I was labouring with my daughters. Could be either or, right? But anyway, my ass is class, and I have a beautiful birdie to remind me to be happy no matter what. And on that note, God and Goddess bless. Have a beautiful day wherever you are in the space-time continuum. And our message from Maggie, who is being swooped by a butcher bird, is never ever let the bastards grind you, me, us down. Big agape love to you all, and speak to you soon, my beloved friends, family out there in the void, and YouTube audience, and birdies. Don't forget the birdies. I'm feeling a bit like St. Francis of Assisi right now. My neighbour down the road, Margot, through the COVID epoch used to tease me that I remind her of St. Francis of Assisi because of how birds and animals are drawn to me. And you know what? I'm perfectly okay with that. Perfectly okay. But I'm a very wrathful St. Francis of Assisi. I don't have that level of sainthood, just saying. But if the birds feel safe with me, then that is a supreme honour from the multiverses. So goodbye and have a beautiful day, people. Love to all.